Melanie Trailer. This is week 2 of Hello Posy Quilt Along. Hello Posy is a pattern in the book A Life with Quilts. You can pick up your copy of the book at meanderandmake.com. So last week, week 1, we cut all our fabrics, or chose our fabrics, cut all our fabrics, and organized them. So if you need help getting that sorted, you can go back and watch our first video. This week, our task is to make our first 6 blocks. So the real fun is about to begin. So today's video is just going to be a rundown of how to make that block, and I will see you at the end of it.
All right, so we are ready to make our 6 blocks. And it doesn't matter which fabrics you choose or which one of these that you're grabbing, just grab 6. I'm gonna grab 6 different ones just so I can have a little more fun. Okay, all right, there's my 6. All right, so I'm gonna start with one with a directional print and one that doesn't have a directional print. So with the one that isn't directional, it doesn't really matter where you put these, so it doesn't matter. So you could really go get some serious chain piecing done. I'm putting these right here like this. You can do that, and then just kind of run through it, because you know that your B fabrics are all going right here, and all your backgrounds are going, you know, right here. If you are fussy cutting, or you have a directional print that you want to stay in the right direction, then you have to lay it out like this. And I have to make sure that I'm putting my B in the right place and my backgrounds in the right place. But when you don't have a directional print, you can just take all your pieces to the sewing machine and then just start chain piecing them. But we're going to start with this one. What we're going to do first is just get out all of our pieces. So these, we're going to get our backgrounds ready. And then for right now, I'm just going to do these parts, and I'm going to save those borders for last. All right, so if you want to go ahead and draw lines down the center of all of these squares on the back, you can. I'm going to actually show you a way where you can avoid that. So let's go to the sewing machine. All right, and we're going to just put the backgrounds to the side for just a minute and focus on these centers. And I'm going to get my block laid back out in the way I want it laid out. So just like that. And so normally you would just draw your line right here, put it on the corner, and then sew right on top of it. But if you've been sewing for any length of time, you know how troublesome drawing those lines on all these pieces can be. So we have little tricks to let us avoid that. All right, so you can see that I've got diagonal seam tape. And even if I didn't have this tape, I can use just regular washi tape. Okay, so I'm using this tape here as a guide. My tape is actually marked with a measurement, but you really don't need it marked with a measurement. Just basic washi tape or masking tape or any kind of tape you have that can come up and come off will work. But what you want to do to place your tape down is to put a ruler up under your needle, and you want to put the ruler on the 1/4 inch line. So find that 1/4 inch line on your ruler. You want to use this ruler's edge as a guide to lay your tape down. And when you get your tape laid down, you use the edge of your tape with your pieces. So let me show you that. So let's say I've already got a tape down here, obviously, but if I didn't, I would go ahead and put my tape down. And if I've got it on this side, I would just flip sides like that to put it on the other side. So sometimes I have 2 pieces of tape here, sometimes I just have 1. It just depends on what I'm doing. In this case, the 1 tape would be fine. And then I would pick up my patchwork, and I want to put this square in the corner. And then this corner right here of the patchwork piece, that's what I want to line up with, on my case, the line right here. But if you just have basic tape, you would line it up with the edge of your tape. and that acts as a guide to keep your stitches straight. And then I would just sew and keeping that corner lined up just like that. So that's how I would do that. And then I kind of just go around doing all of these. So this time, so let me just go ahead and put these in place so I don't get out of order. All right, so now I put this one in. And do the next. All right, then I just cut my thread, and then I'm just going to clip these little threads that connect them, and then I want to take a minute and then just get them all back into place. Just double check that I've got that in the right place. Now, if you're following along with the pattern, you would just go and, you know, do your cutting on these. But since I'm already at the sewing machine and I have all of my pieces, I'm just going to go ahead and sew these background squares on the same way I did this one, in the right places. And that way I can just do all my cutting at once and all my pressing at once. But the pattern breaks this up into different steps. So you would do this, go cut it, go press it, then come back and then do all these background squares and then do the same thing. But I like to batch everything. So I'm just going to go ahead and put, it don't matter where these go, so I'm not going to lay it out. But I'm just going to take each one of these and then start sewing their background pieces on. I'm doing the same thing, keeping that corner lined up with that tape line. Cut all the threads that connect them, and then we flip, and then we just keep doing it all the way around until all the corners are taken care of. All right, so at the end, after I'm sewing, all of my pieces should look something like this. And again, if I didn't have a directional print, I wouldn't have laid this out like this and went for it. I would have just done, you know, put all the squares, just chain piece all of the squares like that. So let's go press. Okay, so now I'm just gonna give all of these a little press to set their seams. So just press. And then we're just gonna go around the square. We're gonna line up the 1/4 inch line on the ruler. I'm just gonna put that directly on my stitch line and then just cut that corner off just like that. And I'm gonna do that all the way around this unit. All right, so we're gonna press these and be really gentle with these corners because they have a way of being a little buggy. But kind of just put your fingers right here, and you don't want to push, but you do want to very nicely push, but just don't do it really, really hard. And then you're just pressing, so don't do this number because you will warp them. Just do it like that. And you're gonna do this all the way around. And I am using steam in my iron. I like steam, but you know, do your own thing if you prefer it. All right. And then we're gonna give the whole thing some starch. And then we're gonna press again, and that's what's gonna keep these little corners in their place. And again, I'm not, ironing, I'm just up and down with my iron. If you aren't looking perfect, which I know I'm not, don't worry too much about it. Snowball corners are notorious for being difficult, so just get as close as you can to looking like that, and then we'll get them in their place. So this is what we're making. So let's go and sew this row together and then this row together. All right, before you open them, just give them a quick little press to set that seam. And then we're gonna press these seams in alternating directions so that they don't mess up. So I'll push this one this way, so like that. And then that means this seam is going this way. Okay, and then we're gonna flip this one on top of this one. Let me get my pins. And you are going to nest those seams up where they bump up and kiss. So just like that. This one's going this way, that one's going this way, and you can feel with your forefinger and your thumb how they're bumping up. Once you get them in place, just put a pin directly in that stitch line, just like that. And then we're gonna go sew right across here. All right, all sewn up, and then we're just going to press this seam right here, get it all flat. All right, and then we're gonna open this seam. So turn it over, and then just kind of, don't pull too hard, but just kind of hold it really taut. Slip your finger in, open that seam up, and then we're just going to press. Just like that. Flip it over, give it some starch. All right, so we have our center of our block. So next, just grab your background borders, the two short ones. They're gonna go here and here. Let's go sew this together. All right, we're gonna set these seams before we do anything else. All right, and then we're going to press the seam allowance to the rectangles. Right, so just like that, and get out two larger strips. All right, and one's gonna go here, one is gonna go here. If you want to pin this one, you can. Let me show you how to pin it just in case. This one's a little bit long to not pin because the fabric shifts and moves as you sew it, so it's a good idea to pin. So just fold this in half, get yourself a center marked. And what that press thing did was, it marked my center so that I can put that line lined up with this middle seam. So I would put those two marks together, the seam and the pressing mark. So just like that. And then pin these ends. Just like that. I'm gonna do the same thing with this other side. All right, and if you didn't want to pin these, you don't have to. Everybody's a little bit different, but if they get, so this is a 12-inch strip, you know, so when they get that size, I start having a little bit of trouble with them. So I would, if I didn't pin this and I started sewing down here, sometimes this strip ends up being longer than your unit or shorter than your unit, just depending. And it's not that you cut anything the wrong size, it's that the fabric is shifting as you sew it. So when you're sewing bigger pieces like this, it's a good idea to find your center and pin it on. Even though, you know, that would be completely doable to not do that, but it's just a little bit of better practice. All right, so we're gonna go sew right here and right here. Okay, let's set our seams again for the last time. All right, and then we're just going to push these like that. So you're always pressing towards the background. I do them better when I flip them like this and then trying to do it upside down. Okay, and then bring in the starch and press. Okay, and that is my very first Hello Posy block for this quilt. And yay. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do these other 5 that I have ready to go, and then I'll show it all to you when I get it all done. All right, all done with my blocks. So excited to be working with these lighthearted fabrics. All right, so this, you've seen this one, and this one, I like this bold one, and then, oh my gosh. This one is making me so happy. I'm loving, loving, loving that. This one and that one. So that is all. Yay!
So that was fun. I cannot wait to see your progress on these blocks. Don't forget to tag me and use the hashtag Hello Posy QAL to be eligible for the giveaways. You can learn more about what we're giving away this coming week or next week in that blog post. I'll link to that below. So I will see you next Wednesday.